What's up YouTube? KM888 here with the new deck profile of my worm deck for you all. Now, the October ban list is gonna be active soon, and this is my list for this next month until the next set comes out. A new challenger, I believe, with the Qliphort in it. So yeah, this is my deck until then, because then I have to change it again. When that set is TCG legal, I'll try to make another deck profile of this. Now, let's get into the deck profile. I don't want to make this too long for you guys, so yeah. First of all, the main deck. Of course, we're playing triple Worm Zex. Worm Zex is the base of the deck, along with this card, Worm Jagen. I'm only playing two of this one. I'm playing Worms a long time already, and I'm actually seeing that I'm only needing two Worm Jagen. A lot of people might disagree with this, but if you have any problems with it, just ask me why and I'll answer it. But I feel that 2 Jagen is really enough in this format. Then for the Searcher, I play 2 Worm card rows. Same with the Jagen, I only need 2. What often happens during duels is that this card is way too dead and it's just too slow in some cases, so I only need 2. It's just to get the Zex off a little bit faster, so yeah. And then also 1 Worm King. Somehow I always draw this card. If I run 1, I draw it once. If I play 2, I actually draw both of them in my opening hand a lot. So I can't actually afford to play 2 because then my hands are way bad actually. So I'm only playing 1 and it's really working out for me, so I'm not going to change that. That's already it for the worms. Only 8 worms, I know it isn't much, but this deck isn't really high monster count and I really need spaces, so 8 worms and it's really enough, so yeah. I'm gonna put those over here in the corner so you can still see it, but then for the other monsters, I'm playing 2 fire hands and 2 ice hands. Now, as a lot of you people know, ice and fire hand have been dominating a long time, up until Shadow came out, but it's really good in this deck because you can just set a hand and the opponent doesn't know if it's a worm or a hand, and then they have to start playing differently because the mind games are really high at that point, so yeah, it's really good actually. They might want to destroy something with a Raigeki since it comes out, and then it's a worm hand and it still pops their cards, so yeah. The hands are really good in this and they're certainly not debatable for cutting, so yeah. They are just too good. Then 1 Thunder King. Thunder King is really good in this meta. If you get this turn 1 against Satella, it's just game over for them. They have to get rid of it with their traps, but since attack stopping traps like Dimensional Prison and Mirror Force aren't played as much anymore, this card really stops them and it's really awesome. So yeah. Then 2 Traptrix Myrmelio. You might think it starts looking like a hat deck, but it really isn't. This thing is just really good in worms, just because of the fact that it searches out a trap card. You need a little bit of a body on your field to protect you, and if you get a trap card, then that's just way too awesome, so yeah. And then the last card of the deck, 1 card D. I'm playing this because I also run Pot of Dichotomy, and the 1 machine in my deck actually makes it more viable. I've had a lot of times that I just play this because I don't have another monster and I set a bunch of traps, and then I draw into some really good stuff, and my Pot of Dichotomy is live because of this, like 2 turns later already, so yeah, it just really speeds up the deck so much, and it's just way too good, so yeah. That's it for the monsters, 16 monsters. You're also going to notice I really love my my way of how I play the deck. Like I have 16 monsters, 8 spells, and 16 traps, so you'll see that. For the spells, the 1 Book of Moon, it's kind of mandatory this format, and it's way too good not to play it. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. I still like it. A lot of people are cutting these, but in a format where Vanity's Emptiness is just raining everything and wrecking everything, this card is way too good, and I wouldn't cut it at all until it's banned, so I'm just playing it at 2. If I could, I'd play it at 3, but that's just too much. You get too many dead hands then against Lightsworn and stuff, so you can't afford that. But 2 is really good, and if you get it at right times, along with the ice hands, it's some back row removal, so yeah. Some more protection against back row, Forbidden Lances. This card is so versatile, it's really amazing. Also, when the opponent has something like a wind down board, you can easily get over it with a Thunder King or Execs just because you have those lances. And that's just really amazing. The versatility of the card is way too good so you wouldn't play it. So yeah, two of it, and that's really good. Then for consistency, I'm playing 2 Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality, really awesome. I don't special summon that often in this deck, and Pot of Duality is just so good, and so yeah. It just brings you those pieces that you need for your combos, so yeah. And then lastly, as I mentioned, 1 Pot of Dichotomy is the last spell of the deck. I'm not playing Soul Charge anymore because I don't play much monsters, and Soul Charge was often really dead for me. Also, the cost of paying 1,000 or 2,000 life points is really high in this deck. You'll see that later on when I reveal my trap cards, but so yeah. 8 spells, and that's it. Then for the trap lineup, I'm playing the 3 W Nebula Meteorite, the most busted trap card in the game, really believe me. If this wasn't archetype relevant and more deck types could use this, that would just totally break the meta and this thing would go to the ban list. But yeah, it's just really good. Just to flip up your monsters alone is already really good. But then you could just replace it by Ceasefire. But the fact that you draw in the end phase and still get to special summon your Worm King, that's really busted, because you often go +3 with this card while the opponent goes -1 or -2. So this is just so good if you get it in conjunction with a Worm. So yeah. Then yeah, the meta card of this format, Vanity's Emptiness. Next, it isn't banned or limited on the Forbidden list, which I was surprised about, because everyone is using it. But this really is the card of the meta game. It stops so many plays, and if you're playing it yourself, you can just get around it really easily, because just play a card and it's gone. So yeah, Vanity's Emptiness, really the main card of this format, I think. Then some summoning stoppers. I played Warning, and I still play Torrential Tribute. I know it's bad against Shaddoll and against Burning Abyss, but against everything else, Torrential Tribute is really good, and I just can't afford to get rid of it, so yeah. So yeah, that's these two. And as you know, I played those Murmillo, so I need the Trap Hole cards. Bottomless Trap Hole, and I'm playing 2 Time Space Trap Holes. I decided not to run a Traptrix Triple Nightmare, because the only deck of the top 3, Shaddoll, Satella, and Burning Abyss, the Traptrix Triple Nightmare only hits the Satella actually, and it doesn't hit them that much, so I decided to cut it just for another Time Space Trap Hole, because this is really good against Burning Abyss and against the Shaddoll, so yeah, it just helps, so yeah. And then some reactive traps, Compulsory Evacuation Device, still a really good card in this metagame. If this would go to 3, I'd definitely run 3. Maybe 2, because I already have my Jägens, but Compulsory is really, really awesome, and it shouldn't be cut at all, so yeah. I'm only running 1 Breakthrough skill, though. This is a little bit of something that I actually like in the deck, but also hate, because if you get this, it doesn't kill the monsters, it's just there, it stops their effects. Sure, it's a good card, but yeah, it's a bit love-hate with this card, so yeah. I'm running it at 1 and it's really helping out, but if I run 2, I draw too many and then I'm hating it again, so it's always testing out if I want to play 1 or 2. I might put in a Fiendish Chain over something else later on for testing, but 1 Breakthrough skill is definitely amazing for me now. Then, 1 Call of the Haunted. This card is amazing. First of all, if you have a Myrmelio in the graveyard, you can end phase MST them basically with this, because you just bring back the Myrmelio, pop a back row, and then in your next turn you just go for a rank 4. So it's really, really good. Also, if you got off a Meteorite and your worms died, you wouldn't get the draws and the special summon in the end phase. So if you, in the end of the main phase 2, you Call of the Hound for a worm, you still get all those effects and you can go off. So that's really, really awesome in it. Last but not least, you have a Thunder King. So if they go Duality and Thunder King's in the graveyard, just bring it back. So yeah. And then the last 2 trap cards in my deck, Dimensional Prisons. Not a lot of people are playing them, so I'm actually playing them a bit as a counter method for that. I really like Dimensional Prison still because it stubs the Shadows so hard when they hit the field, and it's also really good against some of the Burning Abyss cards. So yeah, why not, right? And it stops their floating. So yeah. Also, one more thing: if I wouldn't play these, I would be really weak against the hand. So if I go against Fire and Ice Hand, they would just kill me, and these cards just give me that extra edge against them. So yeah. Anyway, that was it for the main deck. 40 cards, of course. 16 monsters, 8 spells, 16 traps. I'm gonna put the main deck away now, and I'm gonna get my extra deck. Now, as you've seen, all of my monster cards are actually level 4s, except for the card D, so I just have a wide variety of rank 4s. If you want to change these up a bit, you can, but these are my preferred rank 4s for this deck, just because they worked out so much. First of all, Evil Swarm, Exciter Knight, just something you want to have just in case you have to blow up their field. It's really good, and it's also pretty amazing if you want to get rid of a Leo and stuff. This deck isn't that great against Leo because I cut the Mirror Force and things, but if the Leo gets on board, Bottomless and Time Space are already out of question, and Exiton is most of the time the only thing you have to get rid of it, so you just have to watch out with that. The deck has some other ways to get around the Leo, but it's not practical, so yeah. The Exiton Knight is really good in this deck, just to gain that bit of advantage. Shadowland against the Burning Abyss, just bounce their things back to the extra deck or to the deck, and it just stops their place, so yeah. Still one Silent Honor Arc. I mean, you don't always want to go into a castle, and Silent Honor Arc is often really better in time as well, because you can absorb their monster, attack for 21, and then the Silent Honor still can't be destroyed, so it just helps out when you go in time, and it helps out against so many other things that you just want to take instead of bounce it back, and it's a little bit stronger than the castle, so yeah, that's really good. Then one Black Ship of Corn, still really good in this metagame, sending to the graveyard instead of destroying, so yeah, because of that. The one Diamond Dire Wolf. Diamond Dire is just in the extra deck just to pop that stupid thing that you don't want to see on the field. Light Imprisoning Mirror, if they have something stupid, like a Messenger of Peace or something, and you can't get rid of it. Diamond Dire just takes care of one problem card on the field, so yeah. Daigusto Emerald, if you want to recycle. If you have multiple meteorites, but your king is in the graveyard, Daigusto Emerald can actually send the king back to your deck so you can special summon it again, which is really good. So yeah, Daigusto Emerald really speeds the deck up, and that's really awesome. It's also really good with the hand, so yeah. Number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk. One of the best cards at the moment in the game, just for the fact that you can banish 2 things from their graveyard. It might not seem that relevant, but often this play is just really good. Just summon it in defense, banish 2 things, and then you can choose to equip it to a monster or just leave it there. I mean, imagine a Dweller with 2900 attack, like, try to get rid of it, so yeah. I'm playing a lot of light, so Constellar Omega is a good option. Then number 103, Ragna Zero. This is probably one of the first exceeds that's gonna be cut in this extra deck for something else later on. If something else comes out, I never make this. Like, it's good against Battery Man, and it's good against Bujin, Fire Fist, against some decks, but I hardly ever make this, so even against Fire Fist, I just make other things, so yeah. Then, just to steal games, the Heartland Draco and the Gaga Cowboy. It's really good if you have these and the opponent only has a few life points left. You never know when you might need it, so yeah. Then, the one Karen Gorgon and Luminescent Knight. It's also a really weird card. This might go pretty fast as well, but just the fact that they can't target whatever they want is really good. Like, if you have 4 back row and you have this, you don't have to fear that they MST the wrong card for you, so you can just choose the target then. And then the last exceed, I'm playing Photon Papilloperative. Like, you might think it's a weird choice, but I really like it. You can do 2 things with it. You can steal a game by flipping their monster into attack position, or you can flip up your worms to get their effects. And that's actually what's attracted me in this card. The fact that you can also target your own monster and you get their effect. Like, the fact how you steal games is easy. If they have a Shadow Falco on the field, you flip it up, almost has no attack points left. If you want to flip up a worm, you just target the worm and get its effect. So, yeah. Like, why not, right? That's it for the extra deck. 15 cards, of course. And then, lastly, my side deck. Of course, this is variable to your locals, of course, because not everyone might be playing the same decks, and probably that's good, but yeah. For me, I'm actually really liking this side deck because it counters almost everything that I know, so yeah. First of all, I'm siding 2 Kaiser Colosseum. I have a good reason for it. First of all, it's against spam decks, things that summon like 5 monsters all the time. Kaiser Colosseum just stops that. And second of all, Trap Sun. Like, a lot of decks, Batteryman, Madolche, Cyber Dragons, they just go Trap Sun, I can't do anything anymore, and then they OTK me by spamming their field. Like, if you have the Kaiser Colosseum, you slow them down so much you can't even imagine. Kaiser Colosseum wins the game at that point, just because you slow them down and you force the Trap Suns out of their hiding place right before they want to use it. So that's really crucial in my deck, so yeah. Then the third MST, really important in case you need it. Of course, Decree is a side deck card that's really popular in no back row decks. So, and then the Twister. Twister, really cool card as well for Decree, Light Imprisoning Mirrors, Vanity's Emptiness. You name it, everything that's face up, Twister takes care of it, so yeah. Then Raigeki. When the next format's out, Raigeki is legal at 1. It isn't that good against the top 3 decks, Shadol, Burning Abyss, and Satella, because they float a lot. But against all the rogue decks, Raigeki is an amazing card, and I'm actually going to side this in a lot, I think. So, yeah. Definitely in my side deck at the moment. 1 Soul Release. Soul Release is a really handy card. I'm only siding 1 because I don't have the deck space, but if I had deck space, I'd probably side 2, but yeah, I mean, we all can use a side deck of 30 cards, right? But no. Soul Release at 1, just for the sake of Light Zones, Bujin, and even against the top 3, if you can banish the Skarms for the Burning Abyss, if you can banish Shadol Fusion, or if you can banish all the Daynaps, the top 3 decks can't do a thing anymore. So Soul Release can actually work, but you have to time it really well, so yeah. Then some Floodgates, Dimensional Fissure, and Macrocosmos. These are really good in the metagame. You might think it also hurts me because I play my worm combo with Worm Jagen and Worm Zex, and I play the hands, but if you play these yourself, you can actually play around it, and that's what's really important. Like, these are really necessary at that point. And if you can play them, I really advise you to do that, so yeah. Then, Chain Disappearance, 3 pieces. At first I was really skeptical about the card because I needed to side 3 and that's really a lot of deck space. But I've been playtesting and I'm seeing that I really need it. Burning Abyss is just way too good and Chain Disappearance is perfect out against it. So yeah, I just needed it. And then two Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors. It counters Shadol and Burning Abyss so well as a lot of rogue decks. So it's a perfect thing to side against them. Next to the Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, 1 Light Imprisoning Mirror. I actually main deck 9 lights, so I can't afford to play 2 Light Imprisoning Mirrors because it stops me as well. But I can play 1 and I can work around 1, so yeah, that's really good against some decks like Satella or Het, so yeah. And then 1 Wiretap to round it off. This is really good against back row decks and also against Satella, because if they have their alpha, they just tribute their monster and then you negate their trap, so the Wiretap's really good at that point. That was it for the side deck, 15 cards. So yeah, I'm gonna put these here so you can see a bit. Now, that was it for my worm deck. I'm also going to make a video soon about how to use this deck or any other worm deck, just some tips and how-tos. And I'd really advise you to definitely look out for it, because I hope it's gonna be good, and it definitely learns you how to play with this or also against this, because you can see the tips and how worm players should play with this. Next, I'd also want to mention a new partnership of mine. I'll be working together with sometimes with a good friend of mine named BioLizard1. I'll link his channel down in the description. He's going to also post some of my videos to make his channel a little bit bigger and to have more videos as well, but we're going to work together a bit also for future videos and stuff. As I said, link down in the description. Certainly go check out the guy, he's really awesome. Now for this video, please like it, it really helps the video to get noticed. If you want to ask something or if you have any comments, just write it down below. I really love to read those things, and I definitely answer if I can or if I have to answer, so certainly make that comment below. And last but not least, subscribe to my channel for more content. I really hope you like my videos and what I'm doing, so yeah, that's about it. See you guys, ciao!